Good morning and welcome to another episode of our 21-day personal leadership retreat with the theme In the Light of the Seven. I am your facilitator, Iku Olokpo. This retreat is organized by our Family Care Foundation, and I am glad to welcome you to the 8th day of this 21-day retreat. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and we want to congratulate you for being with us, for giving us your time for the past 7 days. And today being the 8th day, we have introduced the concept that we are trying to guide ourselves by. And today we are going to start the second phase of seeing how we can embody these qualities that we talked about. We say Sunday, the day of the sun, represents our core value and what is most meaningful in our life. And we say before you build anything, before you start anything, you have to have a core value that guides you, that drives you, that keeps you undistracted and keeps you focused and spur you whenever you need encouragement, whenever you feel discouraged. Your core value is what brings you back into alignment. And then we say the second one is the moon, which represents your emotion, how you feel about certain things, how you connect deeply to others, to your goal, to your dream, and to your value. And then the third one we say is Mars, which is defense and boundaries. How you get to defend your core value is very important, because life is a communion, and something can just feed on whatever it is you are building, and it needs to be defended. It needs certain boundaries to keep you within, and all that is what you see, the womb being our first defense when we come into this world and all that. And then we said the fourth one is Mercury, which has to do with communication. Communication is very important to connect two things together. So as you're building, you need to connect with people, you need to connect with ideas, you need to connect with a whole lot of things that would come together to form what it is you are building, whether your personality, whether your business, whether your family or anything. So you need communication. And then we say the fifth one is Jupiter, which is fruits, bearing of fruits. It's very encouraging to see that anything you're putting your effort into, it bears fruit. And then the sixth one is Venus. Beauty is a very attractive thing. Beauty calls people to you. Beauty attracts people to you. It attracts attention. So beauty is a very integral part of anything that has life in it. That is why you see life itself is beautiful. The mountainside, nature is very beautiful when you look at it. What that tells you is this is why we are attracted to life. So anything that you are building that has value must be beautiful. You must incorporate that element of beauty into it to make it attractive. Sometimes people use beauty as a bait to trap other persons. That's a very foul intention. But what we encourage here is incorporating beauty into what you're building makes it worthwhile. And then lastly, we talked about Saturn, which is structure, time, and discipline. Anything you're building must be carried out through a structure, and is time bound also. So if you don't have a structure on ground, you cannot deliver your core value. So this week, that's what we talked about in the previous 7 days. And today, now being the 8th day of the 21-day retreat, we are introducing a second level, a second phase of the retreat, which is how do we put this core value, how do we put these 7 values incorporate it into our being, into our businesses, into our families, because nature has been doing this and it is stable. The sun always rises in the morning, and that is where everyone picks up from. As the sun rises, you see people begin to open their shops, people begin to go about their daily business, and when it sets, everyone goes to rest. okay, and it takes time for it to rise, and after that it sets, okay. So that alone is an example for us to follow. So how do we embody? Today being Sunday, we are going to repeat the 7 process. Starting with Sunday today, we come back and revisit our core value. So the question today we are asking ourselves is, how do you embody your core value? How do you get about, living by your core value? I will give 3 suggestions, and because we know there are a thousand of them, many ways you can embody your core value, many ways you can find your core value and begin to pursue it and be driven by it. But we are going to just suggest 3 for the purpose of time and this retreat. The first way to embody your core value, and I'm speaking specifically to Nigerians right now, is to study. Okay, most times we are in the habit of praying about things and just hoping for the best, or just freestyling things and hoping for the best. For you to really last long in whatever you're doing, for you to be consistent, for you to be driven, for you not to be distracted when real problems attack you, you have to study. And studying helps you understand. How do you do that? Simply, thank God for the internet now. You can just simply sit and Google, how can I find my core value? Just go to Google and do that. So the first way we are suggesting is for you to study. Many young people take study for granted, and they come around and say things like education is scam. Education is not scam. Education brings the best out of you. But of course, by education, we don't necessarily mean classroom education. Learning by any means is education. Teaching yourself is education. So the internet is a school in your hand. The internet is the facility for education in your hand. Many persons who succeeded are self-taught. There are many examples, like if you read the biography of Nnamdi Azikiwe and many great Nigerians, they were self-taught at some point. Benjamin Franklin of the United States, he's self-taught. So most persons who do great things, they were self-taught. So we recommend the first way you can find your core value is to study. Secondly, we recommend that what we are talking about, core value, is something inside of you that you are the only person who can tune to. It's an energy, it's a feeling that you alone can see. Sometimes you are in a family, sometimes you are in a crowd, or you're in a church, or whatever society you belong to. You have a vision, and sometimes people can't see what you are seeing until you midwife that vision and bring it to reality and people get to see it. But you have been seeing that vision for as long as possible. So what we recommend in such instance is for you to tune into yourself. Find time to be silent. Find time to be quiet and listen to yourself. This internet age is very, very distracting. Very, very distracting, because as you pull out your phone, there is a whole lot of 5-minute video, 2-minute video, 2 seconds video, comedy and all that. That's what you find mostly in the internet, social media space. But find time to tune out of that and listen to yourself. That self that we are suggesting you listen to is your soul, is your son. That is your real core value will speak to you if you are silent. So meditate, find a quiet time and listen to yourself. That is the second suggestion of how you can get to align with your core value. The third one we are suggesting is look around you. Look around you. What kind of family do you come from? If your family is rich, then there would be another thing that they are lacking. That is the reason why you are born into that family. That's your core value. Look around yourself. If there is something you are lacking in your life at that moment, it aligns with your core value. Look at how well you're doing in your finances. Look at how well you're doing with whatever is most important in life. So look around you, look at your family. What kind of family do you come from? What kind of race do you come from as Africans? Just look around you. If you pick up the purpose of trying to, I'm not saying go and solve the problem of the world, but if you find yourself, let's say in Nigeria, and Nigeria is a very corrupt country, then how can you fix it? How can you fix corruption inside yourself? Not go and correct the whole state, the whole country, let the whole country be running fine before you are okay. No. Know that whatever society you find yourself, elements of that society will seep into you and you will become part of it. So naturally, most Nigerians, we adopt corruption just to survive, not as if we are corrupt people. So by encouraging you to look around you, it tells you that until you stand up and make fighting corruption your core purpose within yourself, not in the whole country yet, then it's going to be around. But by the time you start working on these things around you, you see that everything, your friends are begin to align, your environment begin to align with your core value. That's how it works. So first thing, study. Second thing, look inward and meditate and pay attention to yourself. And thirdly, look at where you are coming from. Any negative thing or anything that unsettles you around yourself, it's calling your attention to do something about it. That can be your core value. So when there is always disharmony around you, that disharmony is calling your attention to bring balance into it. When there is always quarrel or when there is poverty around you, that poverty is calling your attention to bring richness into it. And most times, this especially goes for young people, money is not everything. We keep repeating it, money is not everything. The best and greatest things you will do does not have to do with money. Money would come, it would always come after. Money goes after your energy. Wherever energy goes, money goes to. So if you look inward, you would already see that what we have been talking about as your core value is a fire, is a sun that is burning inside of you. It just needs to express itself, and the more that fire expresses itself, the more money will come after it. But if society has misled young people to think that money first, then all these things second, then we are all working on our heads. So these three suggestions we have given is how you can embody your core value. If you study, you would find ways of embodying your core value. If you meditate, if you pay attention to yourself, if you listen to your soul, your inner voice, it will speak to you and tell you directly what your core value is. If you look around you and see your environment, if it is disorganized or there is work that needs to be done in your environment or around your person or in your circle of friends, or just look around you, whatever calls attention that needs work, that is your core value calling you. So with these three suggestions, we hope that you would take time today to not only meditate, but to sit down and see how you can awaken your core value and begin to get it moving. Because the year has already started, and what we decided for this retreat is for us to see how we can, put ourselves together before we go on this journey. So we thank you for the time you spend with us. We thank you for the many young persons you invite into this space. We are grateful that this is is on record, that we can always come back to, or it's a video we can always share with young people for them to be guided and for them to find their way. Remember, every human being you see has a value inside of them. That is why it is painful, no matter how bad an individual is. Even if you see a criminal being lynched, in Africa here, they hang tires on people's neck and burn them up. No matter how rejected and how bad a human being is, there is still value inside of them. And that is what we are talking about. Okay, people still cry when people die. Okay, humanity is not as useless as maybe presented sometimes. on the internet. So there is still value, and what we are trying to do is to awaken that value for what is to come. So we thank you for this time you spend and all the shares and all the support we get. We hope to see you in the next one. Please drop your question, drop your observation, and whatever interaction we would have through this medium. Thank you, and see you in the next one.